And now, get ready to smile again with radio's home folks, Think and Save, written by Paul Ryman. Well, sir, it's late afternoon as we enter the small house halfway up in the next block now. And here in the living room, we find Vic and young Russell. The former seated in his easy chair, glancing through a recent issue of the Kitchenware Dealer's Quarterly, and the latter, at ease on the Davenport, reads a book. Silence has prevailed for considerable time. But now...
Anybody in the living room, Harvey?
That's Mom.
Oh, impossible. Hello, Harvey? Groceries?
Yeah. Russell in there with you?
He sure is. Come take him away.
By George, individuals like myself, that's neither little children...
So here you are, Mr. Talky Talk.
Talky talk?
Oh, I understand you've been telling a few tales out of school.
Tales out of school?
What'd you say to Mr. Gumpox?
Perhaps you have reference to the...
I referred to the other day when I told Gov about me and Miss Razor-Scum having an argument over the color of Mr. Gumpox's eyes.
Oh, you mean
You carried the story back to him, didn't you?
Why, I mentioned it, sure.
I figured you were the guilty party. Vic, you know what I'm talking about?
The garbage man's eyes.
Mr. Gossipy Wassipy here couldn't wait till he got me and Miss Razor-Scum's little argument circulated. Run right back to Mr. Gumpox with it.
Oh, Mom, I never done any such a thing.
You just got through saying you did.
Why, I never run anybody with anything. The way it was, I saw Mr. Gumpox at the Bijo.
And told him all about how your mother and Miss Razor-Scum almost got in a squabble over the color of his eyes.
I didn't say anything about almost having a squabble. We were standing right next to each other in line at the ticket window. We were enjoying a slight conversation, and I happened to remember that stuff about his eyes. I says, "You got blue eyes, haven't you, Mr. Gumpox?" He says, "Sure, why?" I says, "Oh, nothing. Only my mother and Miss Razor-Scum had a discussion was all. One said your eyes were blue and the other claimed brown."
And that ended it?
Sure. We bought our ticket and went in the show.
Well, I don't know what I ought to give you a good scolding.
Why, I never attached any importance to it. Just being sociable was all.
Yeah, people want to watch out what they say when they're being sociable. Maybe their intentions is innocent, but there can be lots of trouble come out of careless talky-to-talk. You busy?
Speaking to me, old pal?
Old pal, that's right.
I'll say, my boy. I eat 3 hearty meals a day and leave her go at that.
Reading your magazine?
As much as I can. Of course, I skip the big words.
I want to tell you something.
You love me?
Yeah. No, but Mr. Gumpox is just hounding the life out of Miss Razor-Scum.
Why is that, Mr. Hooch?
He thinks she's interested in his eyes.
Does he fancy his eyes?
Well, yes.
How sweet.
Uh-huh. Anyway, since Miss Razor-Scum and myself had that silly little argument and Russell mentioned it to him...
Why, I only mentioned it in order to have something to talk about, Mom.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he's been showing up at Miss Razor-Scum's back door.
So she can admire his eyes? Why don't she tell him to take his eyes and go jump in the lake?
Oh, lish person don't want to do that. Mr. Gumpox is a soft-hearted, easygoing, sensitive fella. Easy to hurt his feelings as fall off a horse. And he's so good about running errands and doing heavy lifting if you need him. And this trash flatters him. Here's a lady along his garbage route that's taken an interest in his eyes. He feels like he ought to do his part. He feels like he ought to give the lady all the information he can about his eyes. If Miss Razor-Scum up and told him she didn't care about his eyes, it'd break his heart.
He'd cry.
Sure he'd cry.
Is Gumpox under the impression himself he's got pretty eyes?
Yes. Well, goodness, like he told Miss Razor-Scum just today. You know, Miss Razor-Scum, I'm just as delighted as I can be you notice my eyes. They are my best feature, and I'm afraid I am just a little vain.
Oh, slush, my dear.
And of course, Miss Razor-Scum can't be anything but tongue-tied when he carries on silly like that. Why, 2 and 3 times a day he'll appear on her back porch and simper and giggle about his eyes.
Then you're the scoundrel that caused this, huh, Stone Bruise?
Why, I never meant to cause anything.
Well, you just watch yourself after this, Dr. Sleech. Conversations you hear at home between your father and mother ain't to be repeated in any picture show lobby. Yeah.
What's Gumpox do? Knock on the door and say, Here I am with my pretty eyes.
Just about. He stands there and rolls them around and blinks them and flutters his eyelashes and, I don't know what all. Miss Razor-Scum says it gives her the willies to watch him.
Well, is she mad at you?
Miss Razor-Scum? Well, a little, I guess. But she don't dare let on much. After all, she said Mr. Gumpox's eyes was brown, and it turns out they're blue. So she's not in a position to say a great deal. She wouldn't have said anything at all, but she's getting desperate about him coming around at odd hours wanting to talk about his eyes. They remind you a little of cornflowers, don't they?
What?
That's a question he asked yesterday. Miss Razor-Scum, he says, that my eyes remind you a little of cornflowers, don't they?
What'd she say back?
She says, yes, very much. See, she gives him real short answers, hoping he'll go away. But he don't.
What's he do?
Oh, stands there blinking his eyes and rolling them around and dropping his eyelashes and so forth. Waits for complimentary remarks.
Does he get him?
Well, she's got to dole him out a few. After 5 minutes silence, it gets embarrassing. You got eyes like my sister, she'll say, or something like that. And he'll say, what shade of blue is your sister's eyes? And she'll say, kind of on the order of Sweet Williams. And he'll titter and smirk and say, oh, there's been parties called my eyes, kind of on the order of Sweet Williams.
Oh, my.
And they'll continue on like that till Miss Razor-Scum could scream. At twilight time, he says, my eyes are a dusty blue.
Oh, my.
There's not so much twinkle, more of a mellow glow.
I'll give you my opinion on it.
Mr. Gumpox is out of his head.
No, my opinion is that Mr.
Vicky had a fight.
Yeah?
With Mr. Gruber, the garbage man in the alley between University and Main.
Huh?
Yesterday morning, they met there in the alley at Prairie Street. Mr. Gumpox was so puffed up from all his conversations with Miss Razor-Scum, he tried to pull this eye trash on Mr. Gruber. He says, what shade of blue would you say my eyes was? Well, Mr. Gruber, he's kind of a rough fella, said they're about the shade of mold on prunes. Pretty cute answer, huh?
Yeah.
Did Mr. Gumpox hit him?
Oh, just about, I guess. And of course, he come running right to Miss Razor-Scum's house for consolation.
Well, from what I've heard, I'd suggest Dr. Gumpox be committed to some peaceful institution.
Telephone's ringing.
Most likely Oyster Cracker.
Get it, Willie.
If it's not Oyster Cracker, I'll be willing to bet $70,000 it's Raymond Searles.
Little boy, big talk.
Yeah.
Hello? Yes? Yes, I believe she is. Just 1 second. Mom.
Miss Sambottom?
No.
Who?
Well, the voice is quite familiar, but still I hesitate to...
Hello? Yes?
Okay.
Oh, yes. What? She did? Well, of course. This evening? Why, I'm not at all sure. All right. All right. Goodbye.
Your telephone conversation was cryptic.
Just how do you mean that, Gov?
Oh, go away. Who was that mysterious caller?
Mr. Gumpox.
One speaks of heaven, and here comes an angel.
You know what happened? Miss Razor-Scum sicked him on us.
Yeah?
He said, I understand you and Mr. Gook are both interested in my eyes.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
I says, yes, of course. He says, you folks going to be home this evening?
He's going to call?
I hinted like I didn't know for sure whether we'd be home or not.
He wants to pay us a visit and sit around talking about his eyes?
Afraid so.
Won't that be fine?
Said he'd telephone a little later to find out what we'd really decided on for this evening.
Oh, my.
Miss Razor-Scum sicked him on us as sure as you're a foot high. What she'd done was go to work and tell him you and me had noticed his pretty eyes and what... Oh, that's it.
Oyster Cracker Raymond Searles of Bluetooth chances. I'm willing to bet $500,000.
Hello? Yes? Oh, yes, Mr. Gumpox. No, not at all. Oh, I see. I see. Well, just a second. He's calling from the gasoline station there on Kelsey.
What's he want?
Says it won't be necessary for us to wait until this evening to see his eyes. He'll be along in his garbage wagon in about 5 minutes.
Let me speak to him.
Says at this time of the afternoon his eyes are a rich hazel.
Rich hazel, huh?
Yeah.
Give me that phone.
You gonna talk to him?
Uh-huh.
You're not gonna hurt his feelings.
No.
I'd be careful not to hurt his feelings.
Okay.
Please don't hurt his feelings.
I'm not gonna hurt his feelings. Hello? Gumpox?
Which concludes another brief interlude at the small house halfway up in the next block.